Okay. We're happy to have Betty Jo Tompkins with us tonight. And Betty Jo is currently the Executive Director of the Hillsborough Soil and Water Conservation District. And I know you've all heard of that, and you voted for people to be on that board. As a native Floridian whose grandparents were dairy farmers, Betty Jo's always had a passion for agriculture. She studied public relations, agriculture, and sociology at the University of Florida. And her career includes serving as Executive Director of the Hillsborough County Farm Bureau and the Greater Riverview Chamber of Commerce, publishing, government representation, lobbying, and her current position as the Executive Director of the Hillsborough Soil and Water Conservation District. She's also served as an elected supervisor and chair of the Soil and Water Conservation District. And she's got a lot of awards. She's been named to the NACD, and Betty Jo, I'm not sure what that stands for, but the N, and maybe you can tell us what is that, Betty Jo, NACD?
That's the National Association of Conservation Districts.
The National Association. Okay, that's great. And she's been named to the Southeast Hall of Fame with that group, the Florida 4-H Hall of Fame, and a Lifetime Achievement winner for both the Harvest Awards and the Florida 4-H. In February, just this past February 2023, she was named Citizen of the Year by the Greater Riverview Chamber and was a presenter at both the Florida and the National Association of Conservation Districts annual meetings. So she's very accomplished. She knows what she's talking about. She's a lot of fun, and she has a lot of fun, and it shows when she talks. So Betty Jo, go right ahead and get started.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. And first of all, I do apologize, but we're having technical difficulties. So I actually moved from my office to the offices of Odin Insurance, and they were gracious enough to let me come in here this evening. But you can't see me and hear this sound system together very well. So I'd rather you hear me than see me. So I will hope that you will appreciate that. And I'm thoroughly enjoying looking at all of you. Tonight, I'm going to talk to you about conservation. A quiet hush fell over the crowd. Then suddenly, with lightning speed, the gavel fell. A voice cried out, "Sold," and the hopes, dreams, goals, and aspirations of another American farm family were gone in an instant. The situation I'm describing is one that repeated itself over and over and over again as a direct result of America's worst ever human ecological disaster, the Dust Bowl. Now, you may realize that back in the 1930s, all over the Midwest, the topsoil was literally lifted off the ground in massive clouds that were so big that they not only came from the Midwest, but they covered the entire eastern US and 300 miles out into the Atlantic. As a direct result of that, in the 1930s, the US Congress decided to adopt and create the National Soil Conservation Service. At that time, it is said that when Congress debated, they pulled back the curtains, and even though it was in the middle of the day, it was pitch black dark. And they voted unanimously to move forward with this. And you might be saying to yourself, well, that was then, but that was almost 100 years ago. So why should we care now? Devastating climate disasters and disruptions, wildfires, invasive species, pollinator habitat drops, bees, and everything else are being impacted today. And we might look and say to ourselves again, well, so what? Who cares? But the truth is, the greatest disaster that can befriend us is the disaster of soil and water deprivation. We only have 3 to 5 days if indeed we are impacted. It is because of that that the Soil Conservation Service was established, but today its role is even more important than ever. There are approximately 3,000 conservation districts in the United States, and each of them is completely unique. They are voluntary, locally led organizations, and their missions are totally different. We in Hillsborough County have as our mission, conservation is everybody's business. So right now, I'd like to put a PowerPoint up to tell you about last year's activities of the Hillsborough Soil and Water Conservation District. You should all be able to see this just a moment. All right, the district year in review for Hillsborough County for 2022. If you look at the logo, the one to the left that says conservation, we created that to show people the depth and breadth of all the activities that we do. And the one on the right is our Hillsborough 100 Conservation Challenge that I'm going to tell you a little bit about. But first of all, our theme, conservation is everybody's business, is quite important because of the fact that we literally reach inner city, urban, suburban, and rural communities. Last year alone, Hillsborough Soil and Water reached an audience of over 1 million people. This included major exhibits in fairs, festivals, and special events. In addition, we trained over 10,000 youth through agri-adventure, school and scout programs, 4-H FFA, parks, recreation, religious groups, and all kinds of community events. But we didn't stop there. We're actually very involved in cost share programs, which help fund conservation programs for bona fide agricultural operators with crops in the ground or the animals above the ground. In doing so, we work with the Florida Department of Agriculture. We also work with the United States Department of Agriculture and the Natural Resource Conservation Service. We're also very involved, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this later, but we're involved in advocacy programs, working not only with local legislators, but also at the federal level. Our biggest project, and actually we had our kickoff today, is our annual Hillsborough 100 Conservation Challenge. This is an effort to engage agricultural groups, business, civic clubs, churches, educational groups, schools, governmental entities, and youth organizations in a wide range of projects. And we carry this out over a 3-week period, but it runs all year long. That's why I was asking about your cleanup campaign, because that would be a natural for us to include in our conservation challenge. Our challenge activities include everything from cleanups of roads, rivers, streams, and other tributaries. We carry out recycling programs, planting of pollinator and other gardens, community gardens, and on and on and on. We make sure, for example, our recycling covers not only paper and plastic, but even electronics. This past year, we were at the Florida State Fair, and we were fortunate enough to have a 30 by 60 foot exhibit right in the middle of the Florida Ag Hall of Fame building. This exhibit was devoted totally to the theme, conservation is everybody's business, covering agriculture, conservation, educational programming, pollinator stations, and so on and so forth. We reached an audience of thousands of people, and not only did we involve adults, but we had youth stations, which included coloring events, rain barrel competitions, and other like events. Some of our partners at the State Fair are right on this PowerPoint slide. including the Florida Strawberry Growers, the Florida Cattlemen's Association, the Dairy Farmers, Watermelon, and of course, everything in the aquaponics area at the University of Florida. And of course, very important, the beekeepers, which we are engaged with the Tampa Bay Beekeepers Association and the Florida State Beekeepers Association. We also conduct a strawberry U-Pick, and that U-Pick provides us the funds for a lot of our youth programs and events. We had a tremendous response to the U-Pick. Everyone had a great time. And Fancy Farms, which is owned by the Grooms family, Carl and Dee, they're our host each year. Not only do they provide a U-Pick for Hillsborough Soil and Water, but they also I've had one for 4-H. And to be very honest, I asked them 17 years ago if they would do it just one time as a favor to me. Well, I'm pleased to say they've actually done it 17 times and continue supporting our youth programs. This shows you some of the other activities that we have at fairs and festivals. And this one was one at the Strawberry Festival, where we have a multiple number of booths and exhibits. And of course, we promote all of our general programming there. Each year, as I mentioned, we conduct the Hillsborough 100 Conservation Challenge. It kicked off today with our annual luncheon, and we were pleased to have about 200 business and community leaders, as well as governmental representatives from the school board, a lot of judges and other individuals who came out and participated in our program, and we had an incredible time. At last year's luncheon, this was our scholarship winner, some of the honored groups that we had, and you can see we give out little gift bags to every luncheon participant, and they're full of all kinds of good environmental and agricultural information and items. We pride ourselves in having a large number of cooperating partners. We cooperate with just about every agency you can imagine. Not only the Farm Bureau, but also the County 4-H Extension Program, the Florida 4-H Foundation, Hillsborough County Fair, and Rotary, Kiwanis, Civitan, and the Lions Club, as well as the various operation programs such as Operation Pollination. If you look at the upper right-hand picture, this was actually from 2022, but just today, Janet Lorton and the EPC were named as one of our winners, and they are one of our major cooperating partners. If you see on this slide, all of the different groups that support us, including Miracle Grow, Littman Farms, Odiorn, M&B Products, the Florida Strawberry Growers, Mosaic, Fancy Farms, the Florida Department of Agriculture Sustainability, Sustany Foundation, and Operation Pollination, and all the others. And the lower picture, you see one of our exhibits that we are in, as I mentioned, fairs and festivals, including the State Fair, the Strawberry Festival, the Florida Ag Expo, the County Fair, and so on and so forth. The next slide, this shows you a little bit about our cost share programs. As I mentioned, we fund bona fide agricultural operators conservation programs. This can include anything from micro drip irrigation to surface water ponds, all kinds of help in any kind of conservation activity that will utilize less water and be more productive for the farming community. Here we are with our local working group. And the local working group is a group of individuals that are involved in setting priorities for the cost share programs supported by NRCS, the Natural Resource Conservation Service. And our working group is an annual meeting and everyone can give input. We have the public comes and testifies along with a lot of individuals. And we work up a master plan of what we think are some of the agricultural priorities that we want to follow through with. Here is the Hillsborough County Fair, which was in the fall, and we actually had a 40 by 60 foot tent, even bigger than our other exhibit, totally devoted to conservation. We conducted a rain barrel decorating contest, a youth horticulture show. We had a contest, a poster contest, and actually 3 of the total of 5 winners from the state of Florida that were in the national finals came from right here in Hillsborough County. In addition, if you look at the upper right hand, those are just a few of the plants that we sold at our plant auction. And those thousands of dollars we raised are reinvested in scholarships and other youth programs throughout the year. This is one of our graphics that's in our exhibits that shows you the variety of things we do and the versatility of our activities. Our goal is always to engage the public to be informed and learn and do everything they can to help us in our goal to protect the environment. We sponsor, as I mentioned, the Youth Horticulture Show, and the next slide shows you some of the beautiful plants that were entered by some of the students, as well as a couple of the rain barrels. And the next one is our plant auction. This is always the last Sunday of the county fair. The county fair is right in Dover, right off State Road 60. We have over 40 nurserymen who provide us annuals, perennials, landscape materials, ferns, bushes, trees, plant nutrition. In fact, if you know anyone who would like some high-end, high-quality compost, we even have a dump truck full to sell. So we have materials of all kinds. We sell everything from tiny items all the way up to major ones. This shows you just some of our sponsors. Most of the major nurseries in the county, almost everybody is involved, and they give us incredible quality of plants, and they sell for very reasonable prices. Here was our sale order book. And these are, again, some photographs from the sale itself. If you notice the beautiful plant material and the flowering plants, I put it on, and I will tell you, every year I spend $500 there buying plants and give them away as Christmas presents, Thanksgiving presents, and everything else. As I mentioned, we sponsor a rain barrel contest for kids, and they are so creative. We want young people to understand the importance of recycling water and collecting rainwater to use under plant material. And then in addition, we had, like I said, a wide variety of decorated rain barrels, which we award prizes, and then they're for sale at the auction, and all the money gets poured back into the youth programs. This is a slide of our poster contest. One of the unique things, we hold 2 contests a year. Our contests are all free to enter. What is really great, there's different themes each year. Every single child who enters a poster automatically receives a free ticket to the county fair, and their poster goes on display at the fair. Plus, they have a chance to win all types of prizes. Our poster contest last year, the one was Healthy Soil, Healthy Life. The next one, the summer contest, was our Perfect Pollinators. And our new contest that's going on right now is called One Water, and it's open till the end of April. The next major event we have is our Operation Pollination, which is, we have a resolution and then a project. This is to encourage people. A lot of people don't realize that in between 2019 and 2020, in a 1-year period, there was a 40% loss of bee colonies in the United States. And it is amazing when I tell people that, so many adults say to me, oh, that's okay, I don't really like the taste of honey. They have absolutely no understanding of the relationship of bees as pollinators. And I remind them, they may not like the taste of honey, but if they like fruits, if they like vegetables, if they like nuts, over 150 crops are directly related to bee pollination. We do other events all year long. This was a night event at Christmas, which we did with Parks and Recreation. We have a series of drawings called Be Kind, Be Generous, everything. There's 24 different ones. We take them out, we let kids color them, give them a sense of what it's about, and at the same time, teach them about the importance of pollinators. Bees, bats, birds, butterflies are our perfect pollinators. This is the mural, and it's in 3 pieces, very large, and it is the mural that was at the county fair and was also at the state fair. This whole mural was done by students from 6-year-olds to 18-year-olds. I could have hired a commercial artist to do this, but I really feel it's more important to engage young people. This covered the entire outside wall of the tent at the county fair, but actually we built it as a box. It goes together as a standing box, and it was on display that way at the state fair. Again, we involve everybody in the U-Picks. We take the approach, we call it the womb to the tomb approach. Everybody needs to be engaged in conservation and get involved. Again, this is a picture with the mayor at last year's state fair. We make sure that we involve youth in all of our activities. Displays go up everywhere. And here we are over at the Strawberry Festival with a lot of the gorgeous Florida strawberries. This is the pollinator display that you saw a moment ago, and this was when it was in a box at the state fair. These are just some more of our general pictures, but the next one is our oath of office ceremony. We just had elections for our board. As I mentioned, last year was quite unique. The Florida legislature actually considered eliminating all conservation districts in the state of Florida. And this was very worrisome because we would have been the only state in the country or territory of the United States, for that matter, that would not have conservation districts. We lobbied several times during the session. We were able to save the conservation districts, and at the same time, the legislation put a greater emphasis on the agricultural element. So this was our new supervisor, and there are the 5 of them there. And then just a couple of weeks ago, we went to Washington, D.C. And we were in D.C., and this is something I want to mention to you all, because it's very important that you get engaged in this also. We were there mainly to lobby for the 2023 Farm Bill. A lot of people don't realize, but the Farm Bill only comes up once every 5 years. And you probably don't realize too, that over 80% of the Farm Bill is actually the SNAP program, supplemental nutrition. So less than 17% actually goes to agriculture or conservation. It is critical that we protect both agriculture, conservation, and the environmental issues in this Farm Bill for 2023. It's being debated in the Congress right now. We met, as you can see from the picture there, with Congressman Bill Arrakis, Congresswoman Kat Cammack, the Texas Congressman, and Lord, his name escapes me as well as I know him, Dan Crenshaw, and then in the picture below, Congresswoman Laurel Lee. We also had meetings with Buchanan's office, Soto's office, Representative Castor, Luna, and a number of others from throughout the state. We are encouraging all organizations, if you're interested in agriculture, interested in conservation, this is the time to act, to send a letter of support out. It will take an appropriation of about 1.2 billion to accomplish the goals we wish to accomplish. The fact of the matter is, right now, 2 of every 3 bona fide farmers who want to engage in putting a conservation practice on the ground in their operation are denied because there simply is not enough funding. It is a critical issue, and it is one that we've got to address and address now, because if the bill just includes appropriations for food stamps or SNAP, it's not going to accomplish the on-the-ground goals in agriculture. Here's the resolution that was adopted by our board, and which has gotten a great response. This position statement was sent out statewide, and we have a lot of groups that are adopting it and also modifying it for their group's interest. This gives you an overview. There are more slides to this presentation if you want to look at them, but hopefully this gives you a concept of what we do. We're here to serve the public. We're here to encourage people to be good stewards of the land. We're here to protect both our soil and water environments, and that also protects the air we breathe. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I thank you for the opportunity of sharing what we do at the Hillsborough Soil and Water Conservation District.
Thank you so much, Betty Jo. There was a lot of information that was really informative. And I think there are a couple of questions. I'm wondering if we wanted to weigh in on this bill, what's the best way to do it?
Well, I would think extremely important would be to get in touch with your local congressional offices. That would be Representative Castor, Buchanan, Franklin, also Representative Luna, and Bill Arrakis. They are all around geographically close or in Hillsborough County. And, you know, individual letters just expressing the need. The real push is to make sure we have funds for technical assistance. People don't realize it, but the days of someone farming where they just throw out a little bit of seed and hope it all comes to fruition, that has considerably changed. As you mentioned, and thank you for the very nice introduction, but as you mentioned, my grandparents were dairy farmers. My gosh, they milked cows by hand. Nobody in their right mind would do that anymore. Today's modern dairy, actually the cows have a chip they wear so that when they come up to the milking machine reads their chip and it tells you exactly what formula of feed they should get. And that's what comes down the chute. And it's different for all the cows depending on what their performance outcome is. Used to be people milked cows twice a day. Now all the major dairies milk 3 times a day. So agriculture is constantly morphing. And the fact of the matter is, like I said, getting in touch, you can do it as an individual, you can do it as any organization. We cannot, and this is another important thing that we discussed in Washington and at the state level too. There is legislation right now that would prohibit hostile foreign nations from buying agricultural land in Florida or land near military bases. Now, that might sound, like, well, why should we care? But the truth of the matter is, I even had a legislator a few weeks ago say, well, if worse came to worse and the Chinese had a large holdings, we could use eminent domain to get them to leave. Well, the absurdity of that is that before they left, they would probably put fentanyl or anthrax or a million other chemicals on that land, so it could never be used for agriculture production. The truth of the matter is, some nations hostile to this country, meaning China and others, are actually buying massive amounts of farmland in the Midwest. In fact, a lot of people don't realize it, but Smithfield meats, if you buy Smithfield bacon, ham, or whatever, that comes from the Chinese. Now, their company is in this country. It is one of the 3 largest pork producers in the United States, but it is totally owned by the Chinese government. Well, not the government, excuse me, but the Chinese. And our concern is, if we keep letting American agricultural land be absorbed by other countries, then we could find ourselves in a crushing situation. So not only do we encourage people to contact their congressional delegation for the Farm Bill, but also at the state and federal levels, that they do so having to do with the hostile purchase of agricultural land. I'm sorry for such a long answer, but I wanted to make it as clear as I could.
And is there in Florida, what bill would that be?
I apologize. Like I said, I did the event today and I did not bring the bill number, but I will send it to you tomorrow morning. But it has been worked several times. It's just like last year, Senate Bill 1078 that had all the changes for the conservation districts. It went through one after another adjustments, and we were up there 4 different times speaking on behalf of getting the bill into a form that could be utilized fairly and effectively for agriculture. So I'll be happy to get that to you.
Okay. And there are a few questions, but one of them has to do with this. Beverly was asking, is the Farm Bill resolution on the Hillsborough Soil and Water Conservation District website?
Yes, it should be. Yes.
Okay. And if we wanted to go to that website, we would just
Hillsborough SWCD.com. And if for some reason the bill is not on there, or the resolution is not, it'll be on there tomorrow morning. But one of my staff was supposed to have already put it on, so I think it's there.
Okay. And how about the other bill about the hostile,
That one is not up there yet because we've had so many changes on that. And we're trying to see what comes out in the next few days. But that should be on there by the first of the week.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay, a couple of other comments that have come in on the chat. Shirley Denton, who's our outings leader, and she's also very active in the Native Plant Society and has been for a long time. She says, rain barrels are great, but why are the plants that you're showing in those pictures water hogs?
Okay, to be very candid with you, we have the plants that are donated by the nurserymen. And yes, sometimes it can be very difficult because of the fact that maybe they aren't the most the most effective when it comes to using the least water. But the truth is, some of our native plants aren't as effective either. So we sell the plants that we are given, and we turn, like I said, today we gave at the luncheon, and I didn't mention this, but I want to, we gave 16 mini grants of $250 each to youth groups. This included 4-H clubs, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, an Eagle Scout, an FFA chapter, an arts center, all kinds of church groups and all. The programs that these kids are doing were as diverse as a Girl Scout troop that is building 20 pollinator boxes, excuse me, not pollinator boxes, 20 owl boxes for nesting boxes for owls here in Hillsborough County. Others are putting in pollinator gardens. They're doing school gardens, nutrition programs, recycling, cleanups. We gave 16 of those, which were funded from the plan auction. We also gave 2 college scholarships today, one for a young lady in environmental engineering and one for a young man in agriculture.
That's an incredible amount of help that you're giving to people. It's wonderful.
But we're especially pleased, I'll be honest with you, one of the exciting things is the fact that even Lopez Exceptional School was one of the winners, and their kids that came today to the banquet were autistic, nonverbal children. And you should have seen how excited they were to come up on the stage, get their award, and know that they're doing a project. We are the most inclusive group out there because we want to give everyone a chance to be lifted up in any way that they can be.
That's great. Okay, Shirley had a second part to her question. She said, Florida bats are insect eaters, not pollinators. Both are important, but the bats that pollinate are not from Florida. Shirley, I don't know if you want to clarify what you're asking there.
Please do.
I'm not asking, I'm commenting.
Okay.
And the reason I'm commenting is that I would love it if you would work with the Sierra Club and others that are more into general nature, so that the things that simply aren't true that are coming through in your talk, that maybe we could get rid of them and help strengthen your talk, because you have some really good points to make. But I think they're better made if your facts are in order.
Well, I certainly appreciate it. I stand corrected, but I didn't make up these facts, Shirley, just so you know.
I'm sure you didn't, but that doesn't mean that we should be spouting things that are not true.
I appreciate that. I'm going to look into it because we do classify, not just myself, but the conservation movement does classify bats as pollinators.
They are very important pollinators in other parts of the world. We're just not in one of those parts of the world.
Not North America.
No, I understand what you're saying. Very good point.
We would love to work with you to help you get a more ecologically sound message.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so maybe
You
afterwards.
really do have some great points to make that we agree with. And as someone who's been working in the general world of Florida nature for well over 30 years, I would love it if we could strengthen your points and not have them easy to attack.
Absolutely happy to talk with you afterwards, or well, not tomorrow because we're going to be swamped again, but on Friday or
and I'm going to be on the road going down to the Keys tomorrow. So tomorrow's
okay,
not a
well,
good day, but I would love
we
to
can
talk
get
with you.
together next week. Thank you.
Yes.
Great.
And if you, Bonnie has my permission for you to have my cell phone number or email.
Oh, perfect. And by
Okay.
the way, just so anybody knows, my cell phone number, 813-477-8332. Anybody can call me. I take calls day, night, weekends. Don't call me after 1 a.m., but I have people that call me up to them. So please feel free. And I see here, does your organization teach farmers to use less pesticides and fertilizers? Absolutely. Our goal is to use as little as possible. And I want to clarify something about that, because sometimes there's a misconception. I will tell you the cost of pesticides and fertilizers is massively expensive. Most of the farmers I know try to use as little as they can for cost reasons, if no other. Now, we want to encourage everyone basically in the agriculture community feels like we cannot produce the massive amount of food that's necessary if we produce everything organically. It would be wonderful if we could, but there are just too many other inputs involved. But I will tell you, yes, there is a definite effort moving forward all the time to get people to use less of any chemicals, whether they're pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, or whatnot. We want people to use as much of the natural elements as they can. That's very important to us.
Good.
Now you mentioned I'll go to the next question. Does your organization teach farmers any feasible alternative to center point irrigation? Oh my gosh, that is a major issue. And that's when I mentioned the cost share. We actually will supplement a portion of the cost if someone goes to micro drip irrigation. And you would be really amazed at how many farm operations use micro drip. The problem is micro drip works very, very well with some crops like strawberries. Almost everybody uses micro drip, except where we get into a situation is when you need water for freeze protection. And I know when I say this, people are going to grimace because they say, oh, it's wasting tons of water. But the truth of the matter is, when you have a situation where there's a freeze, so you put the water on the strawberry plants, you're freezing the plant at 32 degrees. If the temperature drops down to 20 or 16 or whatever, the plant without the water will die. There is no question. That eliminates the crop immediately. And I will tell you right now, one of the things everyone knows is coming, and you can already see in California, because of the massive weather issues they've had in the last 3 months, the cost of produce, I know you know that parts of California represent about 80% of the salad bowl of the United States for April, May, and June of each year. You're going to see a tremendous cost increase in broccoli, cauliflower, lettuce, Roma tomatoes, and a lot of the other produce that would be coming from there. You cannot pick produce from fields that have been flooded, so the fields are totally worthless. It's a safety hazard, and it is legitimately something you cannot do. So the price of produce is going to jump again. And that is a grave concern because of the fact that so many people who are on fixed incomes or limited resources are not going to be able to eat nutritionally sound food. So it's really, really a very difficult issue. Center pivot, I agree, no question, does waste a lot of water. It is a supplemental watering for some crops. Other crops, it's not effective to do micro drip, and therefore farmers use center point or center pivot.
Thank you for that explanation. Tina says, I know about the work you do because I see you at so many events. Thank you. Her question is, what is the role of the elected board?
Okay.
Come on.
The role of the elected board is to be responsible for helping support the agricultural community, to bring forth ideas, to also help us to engage the general community in the whole depth and scope of what we do. They meet and debate all kinds of issues and look at ways that we can do a better job of getting the conservation message out to everyone.
Okay.
Okay, let's
see,
go.
Paul
I'm gonna
asks.
put these in and I'll take them.
Oh,
Excuse me?
yep. Okay, somebody had their sound unmuted. Okay, there's a question. Does your, Paul is asking, does your organization teach farmers any feasible alternatives to center pivot irrigators? It
That
wastes
was
a
what
lot.
I was discussing, yes. Absolutely. That is one of the major things we find, like I said, is micro drip irrigation, which is the alternative.
Tina's wondering, when do groups register to participate in the Hillsborough 100 Challenge?
We take registrations all the time. And the fact of the matter is, we put out each year, as you saw in the one picture that showed the challenge, we put out a 28-page color tabloid. And normally we would put it out right now, but the fact is that the Times is no longer handling the production of tabloids like that. And so they just informed us in very short order. So we are going to have to produce it ourselves. And so we will be putting the tabloid out a little bit later. But any group can contact us at any time. We have, just to give you an example, the Brandon Kiwanis Club, they have road cleanups. They do some different types of parts of the year, but then they also do some during the Hillsborough 100. All the different times. So anytime the Sierra, like I said, your cleanup could get listed on our list of projects. We want to engage as many people as we can. And I will tell you, no project so far has been so outrageous that it's not something that we would want to support. We want to teach people how to be responsible stewards. And like I said, our theme is conservation is everybody's business. So if the Sierra Club or any other group has some projects, we'd love for you to register. We'd love to have you come to next year's kickoff lunch. And it was a grand event today. We even had, for those, and I hate to admit it because I am one of these people that I don't like using things that aren't really recyclable at all, but I couldn't resist with all the kids. We had those stroke type wands, and when they played the music with all the winners, the lights all went up, and everybody just had a tremendous blast. So we engage kids, we engage adults, senior citizens, everybody and anybody. So if your group would like to do a project or would like to register a project you're doing, we would be happy to have you do that.
Okay, good to know. Rocky, you have a question and a statement.
Yeah, so the Sierra Club takes the stand, and we would like to help you with this. And Shirley was correct. It's a Sierra Club takes a stand that we want to use Florida-friendly plants or water-friendly plants, and we promote that. Not necessarily native. Natives are the most water-friendly, and it's proven, but there's also other plants that are friendly to water use. In fact, a lot of states have banned some of the grasses we use. For instance, a lot of the grasses that, say, St. Augustine is banned in a lot of states. A lot of states and cities are banning planting of grass. A lot of states have stronger conservation methods for farmers to capture their water before the fertilizers and herbicides go off into the creek and streams, as in AE Lake Apopka. So the Sierra Club takes a stand that we want to use less fertilizer, managed water, micro irrigation, and Florida-friendly plants. So we can work with you. We have experts in that field, but both locally and nationally, we can help with that. 100%, we promote that. And that's what we fight for, because we're building all these houses. We got all these farms and all that fertilizer that goes in those strawberry fields. It goes right in the aquifer, and it's uncontrolled. There's no regulation in Florida for how much fertilizer, herbicide, or pesticide you can use on any of the farms in Florida. And we're working hard to regulate it. We don't want to stop it, but we want to regulate it. The year that Shirley was talking about the strawberries, where they put all that water on the ice, there was about 6 houses that were lost to sinkholes because the aquifer there was no water in the aquifer. So
Shirley didn't say that one for what
Okay.
it's worth, Rocky, but I agree with you.
But that happened because of there was no regulations on how much water. So I don't know. I don't know how you balance how much water you use for a strawberry plant versus a house, or water to drink, or safe water to drink. So Sierra Club is really involved with that. We can help you with those programs. We have youth programs that we also have, and we teach native plants, Florida friendly, and we teach pollinators in our yards. You know, I've got a big garden, and my cucumbers have no cucumbers because there's no pollinators in my yard, because the Pasco County mosquito truck wiped out about 30 hives in my neighborhood. They went through and sprayed and killed all the bees in the hives in my neighborhood. So those are the things. And I'm almost done. I used to
Okay,
work,
go ahead.
when I was in Tennessee, I worked for the extension office. I'm very familiar with the soil and water conservation. They do great. In fact, their office was in our extension office. So you guys do a tremendous job. And I know it's mostly focused on agriculture and farm. And it was good to hear you branch out all these other things, because in the past, it's just been agricultural, not the other stuff. And I'm glad to see that you're branching out. But we want to help. We want to help you. And we've got a lot of expertise, both locally and nationally, that can help.
Well, I appreciate that very much. And I do have to comment when you were saying about the grass and all. I'm one of the people who is a total advocate of urban agriculture. I remind people, you can't eat grass. Plant things in your yard that you can eat. I get so frustrated because you're right, there is a focus on ag usage of fertilizers, pesticides, and all that. There's not enough focus on the urban use. People want this absolutely green lawn, and you can't eat the grass, so you could just as soon have a plain looking yard and put some vegetables in it. So you're talking to, you're preaching to the choir when it comes to that. I believe wholeheartedly we've got to get people to focus, not like I said, the farmers, yes, but the urban population too is obsessed with buying fertilizers and everything. They want instant success. The pollinator problem, what you're talking about, is absolutely critical. And that's one of the things that concerns me. I brought it up just the other day in Washington. They talk about wanting to protect wildlife and everyone, and at the state level, we want to protect the gopher tortoise and all. And I support every bit of that. But there's not enough emphasis in protecting the pollinators and the bees that absolutely are critical. Now they're talking about, well, they're going to try some artificial pollination and all this. I think Mother Nature put bees here for a reason. And I really think that we need to go a much greater effort to protect the bees. I happen to belong to the Tampa Bay Beekeepers Association, and I belong to the Florida State Beekeepers. And I would encourage your group, the Sierra Club, to also join the beekeepers, because it is critical that we take this matter seriously. These drops in hives, this is a federally funded research. It is not just some shotgun approach, but it shows the Verona mite, also bee colony collapse. All of these things urban intrusion, and as you mentioned, the spraying and all of these things are just costing, incredible numbers of bees to be lost, and we've got to stop that as soon as we can.
Monica, we're agreeing with you.
Yeah,
Mike-
And I'm not actually agreeing on the subject of bees as in honeybee, but overall, we have to protect our pollinators. And we're
Absolutely,
not
and by
doing
the
it.
way, it says Monica, but this is Betty Jo talking to you.
I'm sorry. That is indeed what it says, so I read it. My apologies. We would
No
love to
problem.
work with you because we think you have a lot of good things to say.
Thank you.
Michael?
I just, I just want to say about the beekeepers. I went to the meetings for about a year, and they're so incredibly responsible, but they rent out their hives, and half the time the hives come back, half the bees have been killed by the spraying. And if the government at all levels won't do something about that, there's nothing you could do to make up that difference.
But you know what? Every individual can put a beehive in their yard. I've had bees for years, and unless you live in a condo or something like that in an apartment, but if you live in a residential area, I would encourage you to buy a beehive and put it in your backyard. I keep bees, and I've kept bees almost my entire life. And I do it not for the honey production, I do it for the pollination.
I just know that in some subdivisions, that's not allowed.
But see, we need to change that policy. That's a great example. It should be something where we encourage everybody, like we should encourage everybody to put a garden in their yard. I don't care what you grow, you can grow any kind of vegetable, but if you grow it yourself, there's a sense of self-satisfaction as well as providing your food source.
I think the schools would be a good place to get that started.
Well, just so you know, a part of our program, we had to take a recess because of COVID, and that was very frustrating to me, but we're kicking it back in. We were sponsoring 26 schools in what we call the Living Garden Challenge. And I will tell you the most exciting thing. Everybody thought when we started this a few years ago that the FFA chapters would win at every school. That's the general feeling. The truth is the top high school winner 2 years in a row was the Tampa Residential Facility for Incarcerated Teenage Boys. These are kids who are locked up here, right off of Falkenberg Road in Brandon. They grew the most incredible gardens you've ever seen. Now, some people said, oh, well, that's because they're there all day. They're not going anywhere. But the truth is, they're only allowed in the garden for a short period of time each day. But the kids are not playing on cell phones. They're not, fiddle faddling around. They're working in the garden. And you would not believe they have told us this is the most effective activity they've had in years. Teaching kids the responsibility of being able to successfully grow a crop. And they have, what we give them, Lippman Family Farms is the largest ground tomato producer in the United States. And they provide us, besides support, to put in the planter boxes. And we let the groups, by the way, choose what kind of soil nutrition they want to use. Some do totally organic, others use blends, etc. But that's part of the learning practice. And then we give grape, cherry, brown, plum tomato plants. We also give them cantaloupes, watermelons, peppers, and cucumbers sometimes. Those last two alternate. But those are the vegetable plants that the kids start with. And it's incredible to see the success. And we were in 26 schools. But we, like I said, had to take a hiatus because of COVID, and we're going back in for this coming season.
That's wonderful. And most people have no idea of all these activities and all these projects that you have with kids throughout the county. It's really great and nice to hear about and know about. So thank
Well,
you
we're
very much.
pleased to be able to do these projects and to be able to engage the number of people and groups like yourself. If you notice the one PowerPoint, our supporters, the groups that are engaged with us, are dozens of groups of every size, every type of group. And we're very, very, very blessed to have that kind of support.
Good. Well, we hope to become one of those groups
We
very
want you to
soon. And we'll communicate our phone numbers and emails.
Thank you very much. And I just want to say in closing, I will get that legislation over to you all so you can see what the state legislation is about hostile countries.
Wonderful. And we'll get that out to people. Okay, if Rocky, did you have anything else?
No, I'm all good. This is good. I'm glad to see the biggest thing I'm glad to see the transform. She said in the beginning, they were started out of misuse of our land during the Dust Bowl. And that's when this group was formed. But I'm glad to see they've expanded. But they're kind of in a rock and a hard place. It's like the environmentalists we know that work for Mosaic. They're kind of caught between agriculture and the right thing, what they really want to do. And then they're kind of stuck in that, Bev has done some work with Mosaic and she knows what I'm talking about. And we know some environmentalists that work for Mosaic, and there's a lot of things we do, and what they're doing is just great. So before we end, I'll let everybody know that Bev has West Shore cleanup the last Saturday of the month, correct? You want to give us the details, Bev? She's working on her mute button. You can hit the space bar. That works really easy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Okay.
can.
Okay, it's Saturday, April 29th. It'll start at 9 o'clock and we'll finish about 11. And I'll be providing water and snacks and gloves and trash bags, etc. We'll have a quick little safety talk and then off we'll go. It's a mangrove forest. And it's actually an Audubon sanctuary. And it's in a residential area, so there's not anything but street parking. But I'll be out there with my little table directing people where to park. And I need, I've got about 5 people so far, but we need about at least 5 or 10 more people. And the location is, it's on West San Jose Street. And I have an address that I could even give you. I could put it in the chat if you'd like. But it's 5101 West San Jose Street in Tampa. So I'll type that in.
And it's also on our website.
Yeah. I do want people to RSVP to me, either my phone number or my email address, so that I know how many supplies we need. It just helps me. And also, if it was inclement weather, I could get a hold of everybody. Okay.
And don't wear your Air Jordans.
Yeah, you're going to get filthy. You're going to get muddy and your shoes are going to get wet, and it's going to be a lot of fun. You'll be climbing around in the mangroves, laughing with everybody. And if the tide's not high, we can make it out to the water's edge on the other side of the mangroves and see the beauty of the Tampa Bay.
Rocky, I just wanted to mention also about EcoFest.
I was coming to that.
Oh, okay.
So before we did that, I was going to tell you on Saturday, EcoFest is on what day, Michael?
Saturday, the 22nd.
Okay, so Saturday, the 22nd is EcoFest. So I was going to turn that over to Michael. So go ahead, Michael. Then I'm going to add tail on to that.
As everybody knows, EcoFest is a really big celebration of all the environmentalists being able to get together and see what kind of opportunities there are out there to make a difference. We'll have a booth there. A lot of people always come by. And if we could be represented a little more strongly, it'd be really great. We have about 6 people now that have volunteered, including Bonnie and I. And we could use some more. And it's a really nice time to be able to talk to people on behalf of your feelings, the Sierra Club, and other opportunities, you know. Bonnie, what do you think?
Yeah, so if you're interested in volunteering, even if it's an hour, and there will be people, if you've never volunteered before, there will be people there all the time that, you know, can guide you as to what to say and, you know, how to do it. If you are interested, send a note to Michael's and both our emails are in the chat. Just send us an email and we'll get a hold of you.
And it's on from 10 to 3. It's at Mosey, which is really easy to get to. There's plenty of parking. And we look forward to seeing everybody who's able to come out and show the colors.
And when you get done, after being out there and seeing all this cool stuff, you get rested that night. And then the next morning, you come down to the Lowry Park boat ramp, where I'll be down there and I'll be leading a bird trash pickup hike right in the middle of migration. And you'll be surprised what we see at the boat ramp. And oh, by the way, Gary Gibbons and Barbara Heineken will also be down there with canoes. So if you want to help clean up the Hillsborough River and look at birds and paddle, we'll be doing that at the same time. So that starts at 9 o'clock on Sunday. So we'll have 3 events that weekend. So we'll have the Eco Fest on Saturday at Mosey, and they moved it to Mosey last time, and it's really a great place. It's where they used to. It's plenty of great parking. It's a great place for the Eco Fest. It's a lot better than the Lowry Park. Then the next day we've got a paddle cleanup and a bird hike cleaning up. So, and then we got some other stuff coming. We just check our webpage. We got some outings coming up. We've got a bunch of stuff coming up. So we need everybody to get involved and help us clean up this mess we got out there. Anybody got any other questions about anything the Sierra Club is doing? We're involved with a lot of other things. So we appreciate your support. If you would like to help us and be a voice for some of these things we're working on, we really appreciate it. You know, we're working on trees and water and expansive growth, and we're just trying to take care of this beautiful place we live in. Anybody else got any other questions?
If I could, I wanted to mention the Clean Air Fair. The Environmental Protection Commission will be having their annual Clean Air Fair the first Thursday of May, and it will be in downtown Tampa. It's a free event. We'll be there. A lot of other groups will be, and I think you'll enjoy it. So come out there if you can, and maybe the Sierra Club would like to put something in the Clean Air Fair.
We will have a booth there. We ordered 2 tables. Anybody would like to come and speak to people, it's a really great event. And you get people that quite honestly walk around in their lunch hour and get some free food. And it's really a nice time to talk to people who you don't get the chance to speak to normally.
Great, we'll see you out there.
Yes.
Okay, question, Michael, you said free food. Are they going to have chili? Because all of a sudden I become hungry for chili.
I doubt if it'll be very chilly that day.
No, are they
But-
going to serve chili?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I all of a sudden got hungry for chili.
I think more ice cream kind of food.
Oh,
But they'll have some free trees, and they have a lot of great stuff there. And they'll have a lot of animals there from the zoo and stuff. And a lot of people will be there who really are interested in the environment and don't know really what to do about it.
So Paul has a question. I still got that vision of chili in my mind. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, just a quick question. I just signed up for the what's it called Laurie Park bird watching cleanup thing.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So just curious, is it picking up trash and then bird watching, or how's that going to go?
Same time.
Oh, cool.
It actually works pretty good. We take a trash bag around and we have some long handled pinchers, and we look at birds, and when we're not seeing birds, we pick up a piece of trash. Honestly, the park's pretty clean. It's the river's edge where there's a lot. So I want to really enjoy that because that park's going to go through a transformation. I understand that the Tampa Zoo is going to be moving over all the way towards the river.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
And they're going to leave the ramp, they say. So, yeah. So Paul, thank you for your registration. I just got an email note of your registration. So cool. Yeah, so we do a little bit of both. You know, if there's a lot of birds, we won't pick up as much trash. If there's trash, and we do a little of both. And we do it at a pretty slow pace. It's not a very big area. And there's, you know, the birds follow that river there. You know, we try to see how many different kinds we can see, and it's a lot of fun. Bring your binoculars. So
Okay.
Al's being dangerous with that bowl of chili out there. So where the meeting is officially over, but if anybody wants to just stick around, which we do sometimes, got some questions, and sometimes we just do small talk and ask how the dogs are doing and you know, and all that stuff. So you're welcome to hang out. I know that Todd and I are going to be real busy the next few days, and I think Shirley said she may come out and help us. We have our youth camp out this weekend. We've got it looks like 105 folks on this outing. So Al, did you call Uber? Did you
I
call
thought
Uber?
Am I unmuted? 'Cause
Yeah.
I thought I was muted.
Yeah, did you call Uber yet?
No, was I supposed to?
Yeah, you're supposed to go send us all a bowl of chili.
Oh, no, that I can't do. It's
Okay.
Black Eyed Peas, as a matter of fact.
Oh, it looked good. Okay.
Cajun.
So
Rocky, were you able to get that equipment from the women in Orlando?
yes, they picked it up and they're bringing it to the camp Saturday.
Oh, terrific.
The
Terrific.
chapter executive officer for the Sierra Club went to Orlando. We had some people donate some club stuff for our youth group. Excuse me. And she went to Orlando today and picked up all that stuff and brought it back, and she's bringing it to Lake Wales on Saturday.
Oh, great. Okay.
Sleeping bags and all kind of camping equipment. So that is really just pretty cool, because the ICO in Orlando voted and they gave us all their equipment they had left over. So we'll put it in our Chris and Karen storage shed. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So
Terrific. Okay.
so sure, you got an outing coming up planned? She's muted.
Yeah.
She's muted and couldn't get there very fast. I have not planned one, but I am going to have one.
So good.
It
'cause
will
I'm not gonna-
probably be a paddle.
Okay.
We're getting to that time of year where water means evaporative cooling for people.
Better do it now before.
Yep. Well, I'm thinking maybe from Rotary Park up to Lettuce Lake and back. It's
That'd be
an
good.
easy paddle, but it's a lovely paddle. And we haven't really done that paddle as Sierra.
Okay.
So I'm thinking I might do that.
Okay.
We also have a leader in training who has discovered a preserve near the Pithliscoti River. And I'm going to encourage her to lead a trip there.
Who is that?
Miss Linda.
Oh, cool.
So,
Wow.
well, she's discovered this place and she likes
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
I think she
probably
will
don't.
do
Better
it.
Not go, huh?
Well, it would be a good trip. It would be easy, which is perfect for a new leader. And I may help her do that, make it real.
Yeah. And Michael McGrath and I are working on one at the Lower Green Swamp. So towards the end of the next month, middle of the next month, which could be one of those you have to start early. Because by 1 o'clock you'll be rained out. So that's pretty good. And also Gary's lawyer, the lady used to work with Gary's lawyer, she is wanting to do, she looks like she's going to do a Lettuce Lake family outing. And then Miss Anita said she would work with us if we help her plan a family outing somewhere too.
And I think that this whole concept of family outings is a great one. And we've never done them.
We've never done them. So we think that that's a new thing we're going to start doing is some family outings. The ICO is for specific kids at specific schools. They're not opened up for just mom and dad and kid to come. So we've got a couple of people that would be just perfect with that, you know.
Rocky, excuse me, but if you all would be interested, we're probably going to do this again, but we did a 20,000 pre-planting of longleaf pine seedlings at the Lower Green Swamp Reserve. And we'll probably be doing another one sometime at the end of the year or something like that.
Can you send us the dates? We can get probably at least 3 volunteers to do that. Now we could probably get a crew of folks.
I'm gonna bet we can do better than 3.
Yeah, we might get 4, but
There
you
would
know,
be a lot of enthusiastic people on that.
listen, we got an environmental club at Riverview High School that has 110 kids in it. We got an environmental club at the Lato High School has 15. Then we have 65 fifth graders.
I was gonna say that we had a large number of people come out the last time because when the county, because of COVID, when the county first approved it, they said I could have 10. And I said, well, 10 people planting 2,000 trees each, I said would be planting a cemetery. They didn't think that was funny, but I did. Because I said it would kill everybody that day. So they allowed us to raise it to 50 and then to 100. And then we went way above that. So if you all would like, when we set the next one up, we would love to invite the Sierra Club. And you could even bring a display out because we had a little bit of an area set aside for displays and education along with the tree planting.
So just let us know when that is. It's the second you know, because I tell you, our calendar fills up. Like this weekend, we have, you know, the big event that's all weekend. The next weekend, we have 3 events. Then we got something the next weekend. So you got, and I can't stress the importance and all these guys on this call that are in this leadership positions. You got to tell us the second you know a date. Right, Bonnie, Michael? And
Yes.
we're just, our calendar is crammed because we got so many people that we're doing so many things. Plus, I don't know how we're going to get Todd Randolph, our video guy, to all these places in one day, you know. We're gonna have to get him a drone to get around. So, but
On the other hand, if you're a little bit out of sync with the others, he would probably love to pounce on it. So yeah, we agree with you. We would love to support you in it.
and we'll do it if we can. You know, just let us know. When do you think the next one will be?
Well, it won't be any time in the summer season because we can't do any plantings, and it will probably be sometime very early in 2024.
Okay, just let us know the second they set a date.
We'll do it.
And watch for rainfall. it's going to be pretty critical to your success.
Well, I was gonna say, that's absolutely true. We have done them, even in June, but we set them up so that we monitor what the rainfall and all is gonna be, to make sure. The whole idea is to put in seedlings that are gonna grow and prosper, not die. So that is, Shirley, you're absolutely right. That is one of the things we do take into account.
So.
Yes,
there's-
thank you.
Yeah, we would
So-
really love to participate in that because there's a trail at Lower Green Swamp. You know, one of our former chair and Mariella Smith, the former county commissioner, were instrumental in getting the Lower Green Swamp preserved. And so we have a trail out there that is named after Kent Bailey, who was my predecessor, longtime friend. It's called the Kent Bailey Trail, and we really liked. And I knew they were going to do a lot of tree plantings, and actually they're going to expand the parking lot too. So we really want to be involved with that. Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you could communicate to us when you have events going, if there's any way we can participate, we will. We like to participate as much as him. We want to get our name out there, and we want to share what we're trying to do on the environment. And I know you guys don't, but we get a lot involved with political issues. A lot. We stand up and we don't tie ourselves to trees with chains or bulldozers, but we do stomp our fist on the table sometimes.
And we do have the ability to bring in other interested organizations.
Yes, we do.
Whether they be Audubon, Native Plant Society, or others.
River keepers, there's just a whole bunch of them.
Exactly. So let us know.
Excellent.
And it does
Absolutely.
need time, because if there's no time, it basically, you can't get others involved because, you know, their newsletters are already set, whatever. So let us know as soon as you know.
And
I'll do that. Thank you.
so, because
Yeah.
winter time is a busy time of the year, and probably May and June is probably your best time to do plantings, because January, February, and March can be pretty dry sometimes. So,
So can May, Mr. Rocky, but
yeah, but at least you got water coming in at the end of
yeah,
May.
you at least got some coming.
And we had none coming out, and we didn't get any today.
I know. I did, not much, but a little.
So I did hook a new water system up. I got my bypass flush off of my well. I have a filter system. You know, they do a bypass flush every 2 days. Well, I've been putting that in a French drain. Well, duh, it went in a tank yesterday. So we put that on around the tomatoes and everything else. We watered our garden with about 40-gallon of water that came out of our back flush.
Cool.
Great.
And we're
I'm
actually
going to say
using
goodbye.
I
gray
want
water
to
too.
thank you all. I certainly enjoyed coming today. I hated that I can't actually, I see you, you don't see me, but I'm still glad to be here. And I will definitely keep you all posted. Hope you have a beautiful rest of the week.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
I'm going to say goodbye too. Thank you.
Me too. So Beverly, you're right down the road. We've been talking about us all getting together, so we need to do that. Spacebar works the best. There you go. So we get
Celtic
to,
Conundrum is going to be at the Cody River Brewery on Saturday night at 7. I don't know if I'm going yet, but I was thinking about it.
who's going to be there
Pamela Joe with Celtic Conundrum.
this Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a date. I got a
That's
date.
in Newport Richey.
I have a date Saturday night with 65 fifth graders.
Oh, that's right.
So this Linda, that Blake that I've been working with,
Yes.
She might be interested because the pith is her thing,
Oh, really?
really. And I think she's gonna come out of her shell on it, on the pith.
Wow, that's really good. Because she's going to do that without Sasha, right?
Well, who knows, but she's doing it and Sasha is not
Wow.
organizing it.
So the pith, is that same as the Cody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an abbreviation for the Cody River. Different
So
abbreviation.
Bev, where's that place you're going Saturday? And what time?
Oh, well, I'm not for sure gonna go, but it's Celtic Conundrum is the band and Pamela Joe.
Right. Where's it at?
It's Cody River Brewery.
Eh,
And so it's on the Cody River. Also,
far?
Shirley called it the pith.
Where is it? Can you tell
I
me?
don't have the address, but it's in Newport Richey.
Okay.
So you might send Diana a note. She's not going to the camp out.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be fun. Yeah.
She might. No, maybe I don't want her to go. You
And
might-
for what it's worth, I'm heading down to the
You won't get in
Keys.
trouble.
I'm probably useless for the next 10 days.
Yeah. So I've been useless for the last 10 getting ready for this thing. And Todd knows how busy I've been. And we had, by the way, I didn't tell everybody, I went to a conservation meeting. First time I've been in a while. Beverly, you haven't been in a while either. You have to come one time. It is so, they had it at, you remember where Brew Bus was? On
Not
Florida?
really, but I saw that it was somewhere fun.
There's Todd wasn't there, a dozen people there? It was really good. There was a
What?
dozen people there.
That's good to try something new. I know Suncoast does things like that, so why not us? You know,
Yeah.
Why not?
they move meetings around to little local breweries.
So we're thinking about having our
Maximum
XCOM
people.
meeting there. It was really nice. They had a whole bunch of brewers. They had ciders and the food was good too. I got a,
Yeah, we've definitely been thinking about taking that. I don't even know the name, that place down just off I-4 and using it for a lot of things. And it's got great ideas.
yeah. And you know, Rob and Teresa are building a coffee shop, beer shop in Ybor.
Oh,
Yeah, so once they get that, we will be able to do some stuff down there. So, but this place, Todd, you there still? Todd was there at the conservation meeting. It was a great facility. It was a little cool. They had the air conditioner turned down, but I'd been there before and done trivia with Chris and Karen and Emily and Dennis, the good Chris and Karen.
So you guys recognize Paul. I don't know him.
Who? I don't
Paul,
know.
he's got his hand raised.
Hey, Paul, I'm sorry, Paul.
Hey, yeah, just another quick question. So I heard, I'm kind of confused. I heard some talk about going to a nature preserve on the Cody River and also, I guess, going to somewhere in downtown. Is that two separate?
two separates.
Oh, okay.
Separate. The nature preserve is just south of Cruise Lake. I've never been there, and Linda describes it as being lovely.
Yeah,
Is it
because
go ahead.
I've been to a lot of rivers in Florida, and that's one of the few I haven't been to yet. So I'd be down for anywhere visiting over there.
Cool.
It may wind up being her official design and lead an outing.
Coming out party.
I'm sorry,
Her coming out party.
her coming out party. Because for the first time, she's not in someone else's shadow.
So Paul and Todd, what we're talking about, we have a different steps you have to go through to be an outings leader. And the last step is plan and outing yourself with a certified outings leader. So this is her last step.
She has future outings in mind. Her goal is preservation of the river. So
Great.
she wants to move from one preserve to the next down that river. leading outings for anyone who will listen to her.
That's great.
Yeah,
Sounds like a bird guy I know or a plant guy that I know, plant person I know.
I don't know, and I don't know how it'll work out, but she was very attentive when I met with her at her
Cool.
request.
That's good. So that's all she likes to finish her outings. We've added a couple outings and we've added like 5 for Suncoast now. We got another one about to start. I got his money today for his first aid. So
Love that one.
So I forgot his name. I got it written down, but he's a Suncoast and he wants to learn about ICO and he wants to help with St. Pete ICO. That'd be good. And anyway, we got a couple Suncoast people helping us, Bev, on our ICO camp out. We got Jessica Lewis, you know her?
Mhm.
She's going to help. So we'll see how that goes. That's all I'm saying. And we got, gosh, I forgot. We got 3 other people that's going to help, so.
That's nice when the two groups can merge a little bit.
And the chapter guy from, Tom Palmer,
Mm-hmm.
he's coming
Wow.
from, I guess he lives in Lakeland. But
Ancient Islands.
that's Ancient Islands, which is part
He's
of
a
it.
really interesting guy.
Oh, he
My
is
God.
smart. He's a bird watcher too.
He's also a really great writer. He writes wonderful.
Yeah,
Really.
he's an amazing writer that people really read.
Yeah.
So that's why he's on the communication team. But
Probably, yes.
so he's coming down Saturday, spend a day
No.
with us,
He's not coming down. He lives down.
coming across. Does he
he's
live in
coming
Lakeland
across.
or he lives over there somewhere?
I think it's near Lakeland, but I'm not sure.
So I talked to him about the other night about you and I, if we could work it out, we could probably do an outing over there somewhere.
Absolutely.
Walk
There's
in
some
the water.
incredible outings over there with important conservation lessons.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't mind doing one at Avon Park Bombing Range.
Well, that one could be tough, but there's more that don't involve having to get permission.
All I gotta do is make one phone call and I'm in. So we have a place over there.
Yeah, well, that whole area is fascinating.
I know, it's just, I've camped over there. Have you ever camped over there?
No,
Oh, man.
explored over there, yes.
Wilderness campsite. They have the most awesome showers in the world. Hang on a second, Paul. They have these 2 showers rooms, and they have a rain barrel on the roof of the shower house. And you pull a lever in the shower and the water comes down. And then you soap, because it's cold. Then you do it again to rinse. And there's no doors on the shower house. So you have to have whoever's with you to guard the front door. But it is pretty cool. I mean, you get rinsed like, woof. As soon as you hit that, it looks like a rain barrel like they have for steam engines.
So me as a plant person, this area has some of the most fascinating plants in their even close vicinity. Some of
Cool.
them are from waypoints north in that area.
Really?
Yes. Some of them are from northeast.
Wow.
Some of them are just flat out rare, no matter where you start from.
Really? So we
It's
should do
really
that.
unique.
We could do it with Ancient Islands. Maybe we can help them get some leaders interested. So Paul had his hand up. Paul, we don't know hands when we do this. We just start talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know it's kind of less formal, less people here, but just I had a random question. I think it was last meeting, there was some discussion or somebody had brought up might have in-person meetings. I was just wondering where would that be or when would that start up?
Okay, we are in the planning stages of that. We've got some structure where we're gonna do. Bev hadn't heard this yet. So we're gonna have we're gonna start back very soon with meetings, probably June or maybe May. We're working on a central location, maybe Seminole Heights Library, maybe not. But every 3 months, we're going to do a Saturday program somewhere, and we're going to rotate them around the county. Like we're saying, Upper Tampa Bay, then we'll do one like maybe Hillsborough State Park or Nature's Classroom, and down south, ELAP already said we could use Camp Bayou. We'll rotate those around every 3 months. We'll have a program. Then after the program, we'll do an outing. We're going to do that every 3 months. And those will be, we're working on the details. So we just decided, last week, Shirley? We just decided that we can't go live now, but we want to get all the stuff, because we're going to do a hybrid. It's going to be a hybrid meeting. It's going to be both. So it's pretty aggressive. We got to get some technology worked out. Yeah, but it's coming. And we're working.
I think we're getting the technology. I am really hoping that we'll get back to live, but I don't know when that will really happen. It's not the Sierra Club that's stopping it at this point.
It's us.
It is people well, I'm not going to say it's people, but obviously everything is people. It is things such as library availability. You know, if we don't have a place to meet, it becomes difficult. But I'm really convinced we can start pulling this off and finding places that we can meet. And they may not be the places we're used to meeting, but some of the libraries really stand out as possibilities.
And we're also looking at the New World Brewery.
Yes.
Where we had a holiday party.
And that sounded great. We could have the basic come here and listen to a conservation message and drink a little bit and support these people.
Because that's a nice facility there, so we could do our meeting there. But so yeah, Paul, it's coming. It's now up to the executive committee to get it put in place, and we're working on it. Michael is working on a central place, because the libraries have changed they used to let us stay after they left, and we locked up. We actually locked up the library and turned the alarms on, supposed to. So they've changed their policy on that. So now they're not letting people do meetings when they're not open. So, but Michael's on the library board, so we'll see what goes.
Okay, Seminole Heights, that's a little bit far from me. I live up near USF. So maybe if it was a little bit closer, maybe like Oldsmar or Town and Country, I might come over, or it depends on the talk too, but
well, there's also a library we're looking at. It's at Hillsborough, and no, not Hillsborough.
There's one on
Nebraska and what?
Well, it's close to, I'm thinking of the one that's off Bears.
Yeah, there's one.
That's an absolutely lovely library.
Yep.
Close to me too.
Adequate hours.
Sort of. Yeah.
That one seems like a real possibility. And I don't think this group has explored it much.
Yeah.
But
I think Michael's got it on his list though.
Yeah, I think there are potentials out there. But we're also looking into other venues.
And plus the rotating thing we're going to do every 3 months too. So, and we may end up not doing them on Saturday and just rotate every 3rd month at some location. But a lot of people don't want to get out at night, because now tonight our
Rocky, were you talking Saturday or Wednesday?
Saturday for the rotated one.
Okay, but Wednesday for the others.
Correct.
Yeah.
We've been Wednesday for how long, Beverly?
Ever since 2003, when I was first joined.
Was it already Wednesday when you joined?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a strong advocate for consistency. It helps.
Yeah, you do confusing. And we've debated about doing this floating around the county, but I think we should do that because a lot of people are not going to drive out at night to go down to a meeting. So we're going to do the hybrid. We know we're going to do that. But we've had 45 to 50 almost every one of our program during the pandemic. This is the lowest one we've had in a long time, which I think, gosh, and we usually get 45 or 50 at our meetings. So, wow, our team has done a good job on getting our topics and stuff. So, Paul, if you got any topics that you're interested in, we try to rotate between, Ken Bailey used to say, fin, feather, fur, and then issue. And that's what you used to say, fin, feather, and fur. So we try to get varied, and we don't want to do all issues every meeting because that gets boring, even though it's important stuff. So if you got anything as you're interested in, we've had requests, and they're trying to find somebody on spiders. And someone else, they're looking for somebody for insects. I think an insect one would be cool.
I can probably help you find insects. I can't help with spiders. I just don't know anyone.
We've had a couple reptiles and amphibians. We've had turtles. We had a snake one.
Yeah.
We've had dragonflies.
So Rocky, write down Mark Minnow.
Say what?
Mark, M-A-R-K,
Okay.
M-I-N-N, I think it's O, but there might be a W on the end.
Oh, hang on my pen.
He lives near Gainesville.
Okay.
He is an entomologist. I feel sure he's a Sierra member. I know he's a Native Plant Society member.
Is he a professor at University of
No,
Florida?
but he has multiple books in publication.
Oh, really?
Really.
Oh, man.
So
we
write
need
him
some-
down. He's a good speaker,
Cool.
and I can find his contact info.
The poor girl tonight, the problem is, and I probably shouldn't have said it, and Bev will understand, because she's dealt with environmentalists that actually are employed, and Shirley understands it too, that are employed by Mosaic and these companies. They follow the money.
Well, this lady was employed by the government.
Yeah, but their whole focus is
I know.
agriculture.
Yep.
And
I think she was ignorant, is my gut.
she didn't know. When she said that
So-
bats were pollinators, I saw that and I thought, oh, you got to be
I
kidding
was
me.
like, oh my God, no.
And this part's not being recorded, right?
Hopefully it's not being recorded.